When one considers it, it's very rare that an actress is fortunate enough to have a signature role that is timeless, and rarer still for an actress to appear in multiple television and film roles that are also timeless, and we can only conclude that Julie Newmar herself is timeless. And Julie, welcome to the show.
Gorgeous introduction.
Well,
when do we meet for lunch?
You certainly deserve it, that's for sure. I'm so thrilled to talk to you, and I just want to start off talking about My Living Doll, if I could, because it is such a wonderful role, and it must be so thrilling for you, so wonderful for you, that this television program, which for years was considered missing, lost, is now available.
We were looking and everywhere, and all kinds of places. Lost mines in Canada, the army bases in Germany, but they did find 11 of 26 shows, and they're splendid.
They really are. And last week I spoke to Peter J. Greenwood.
Oh, you did.
I did indeed.
He's got tales to tell.
He does, and he's searching. He's still searching.
Yes, he still is, yes. Mm-hmm. They were made in 16-millimeter film, and of course we think they're in somebody's attic somewhere, or garage, or something like that. But who knows? But they still have a wonderful look to them, and of course they were in black and white. It was just kind of before the color period, and before I did Catwoman, of course, in Batman, and that was 66, and this was 64. But black and white is so sublime. When you look at the way the lighting was, and how beautiful people looked, and how sculptural and the visual part of it looked.
Let me ask you, when you're chosen to play the role of a robot, I wouldn't even know where to begin approaching a role like that, because you've not only got to bring life to that character, but you've also got to make that character endearing to the audience, and yet still maintain a sort of detached quality, because it is supposed to be a robot.
Dear David, you perhaps have the clearest idea of this show and what I strive to do in this show of anyone I've ever talked with, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
It's wonderful to have this kind of vision where you see what really is that, and it just thrills me to I think I'll be the listener here. Yes, it was the most difficult part that I'd ever done, because how do you be a robot? I mean, it's easy to walk around like something mechanical, that any actor dancer can do, but to give it life and to make people care, I think that's the whole criteria, to have people care.
You're surrounded with so much great talent behind the scenes, and I'd mentioned, Ezra Stone directed so many episodes. Oh, yeah. And
he was, what was the part?
Henry Aldrich on the radio.
Henry Aldrich, right.
And he was a big star on radio, and you had wonderful character actors around you, like Parley Bear in one episode, The Witness.
Yes.
Play the judge, and that is...
Oh, he was so good. Oh, I wish people could see this particular show. It's I think it's the 13th episode or so, and lo and behold, it is so much fun. It is really top-of-the-line television.
That is a dancing performance.
Yes, it's a kind of mime in a way.
Yes.
To physicalize a script is, that's what I like doing most. As a matter of fact, I think I'd prefer scripts that didn't have any words at all, any dialogue. Words, yes, words that your body could do. But then, and I did have a role like that. I did. I played an Indian in McKenna's Gold. Imagine them.
Oh, sure.
Casting a Swedish girl like me. I was born in the U.S. As an Indian, yes. There you had fall off a horse, but I had someone else got to do that for me.
And you started out as a dancer, You were a head choreographer at Universal Studios, is that correct?
Well, I kind of had a part-time job after sneaking out of UCLA. Because, of course, who wouldn't rather be in the movies doing anything? But I had a lot of dance experience and training in Europe and all, and I could teach classes to, you won't remember these gorgeous people, but Anita Ekberg.
Obviously, sure.
Oh, the gorgeous, gorgeous, sweet. I mean, she makes Marilyn Monroe look like a string bean.
La Dolce Vita, yes.
Yes. And it was challenging and wonderful to teach actors to dance on films. And that's when they were doing what they used to call the Sex and Sands films.
Oh, yes.
Yes, with Yvonne De Carlo. And I would dance in for some of the stars. That was more accepted in those days, when also, if you didn't have a gorgeous singing voice, someone would sing for you, as they did for Rita Hayworth.
Right.
And so I was always shot, in full frame, that is, at a distance, to look like whoever it was. It's kind of called the dance-in, or the stand-in, or the person who does falling off the high board. That's interesting.
Well, it is, and obviously that also led to your role on Broadway in Little Abner.
Yes.
And for which you won a Tony, and also, talk about a classic film, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh, yes, that's everybody's favorite kids' film. It's a wonderful family film, and I'm so grateful, also at the age of 19, to have been in that film. That was made at MGM when MGM was starting to lose its kind of like GM, really. It was going bankrupt.
Right.
And we were there, and there was maybe only 2 stages. All the other part of the lot was dark. And I remember meeting Debbie Reynolds and Gene Kelly, and there we were rehearsing for 5 weeks, which is also quite unusual to have that much time to rehearse for a film. And guys danced and looked macho, and of course it was based on Seven Brides for Seven Brothers was based on a wonderful story, the Sabine women, the rape of the Sabine women.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a good tale, and it's a beautiful film to see even today.
Well, it's certainly a classic film, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, you appeared on so many television programs, not to mention, of course, a starring role in My Living Doll, and I have to talk to you about Catwoman. It is a role that my father was a fan of.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of.
How about your grandfather?
My grandfather was a fan of it as well.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
my 6-year-old niece is also.
Wait a minute. Does that make great-grandkids?
That's what it, yes, it does.
Goodness.
She just started watching Batman last year.
Really?
For the first time.
Oh.
And she's like me when I was 4 or 5 years old and watching it. I took it very seriously.
Yes.
I didn't see any humor. I know. It was only later on that I realized that it was funny.
Tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
Somewhat. Yes. But there's still good ideas there. It's a good story. It's funny. People have an adventurous time, but there's still good ideas. For kids of all ages, except maybe between 9 and 11, when everything has got to be deadly right on.
And I should mention also that your costume is now in some place very special.
The Smithsonian.
It's in the Smithsonian. That must be such an honor for you.
You think it's gathering dust?
I think you should break in at night and wear it and...
Put the ears on.
Yes, exactly.
Prowl around.
Yeah, right.
Set off the alarms. Yes, sure.
They could look at that.
They love me for that.
They'd look at that security footage and think, what just happened?
I've already done that on the film. I think in one of these 6 episodes I'm doing exactly that. I'm stealing a golden cat or something.
The role is iconic, and of course there are many wonderful actresses who've played the role since and will continue to play the role.
Anne Hathaway.
Oh, yes, that's right. There is...
Are we lucky?
We are there. Well,
the gorgeous Anne Hathaway,
Catwomen,
the one and only.
they all have to be beautiful. That's for sure.
Well, they can be whatever their wonderfulness is.
Right. But to me, and I'm sure to my 6-year-old niece now, you will always be the Catwoman in the same way that Adam West, as far as I'm concerned, is Batman.
Yes, wasn't he good? Oh, yes. And the nice thing is that they keep replaying it. It's out now on Hub, HUB, Hub. There's a new network called Hub, and they're showing it again. So it's great. It's really good. I still enjoy watching it.
Hello, Batman.
You're a rare lady, Catwoman. You're right on time.
I'm rare. In more ways than that.
I'm glad you decided to surrender. We would have caught you eventually.
Do you think so?
Certainly, there's no escaping the inexorable law of justice. Shall we go?
Must we? So soon? I thought that, well, you know, perhaps we might get to know each other a little better.
I would think that we know each other well enough by now.
Don't run away, Batman. I won't bite.
I'm not afraid of you, Catwoman. You're very beautiful, Catwoman.
Yes, you're quite right. I am.
Your propinquity could make a man forget himself.
I don't know what that means, but it sure sounds nice.
I refer to the nearness of you.
Batman! Let's throw caution to the winds. I mean, after all, we are two adult human beings, and we're both interested in the same thing. Happiness. I can give you more happiness than anyone in the world.
How do you propose to do that?
By being your partner in life. I mean, it's me and you against the world. Oh,
What about Robin?
well, I have him killed, painlessly. Well, he is a bit of a bore with his holy this and holy that.
That does it, Catwoman. I thought you had a modicum of decency, but I see that I erred in my judgment.
It was so funny. I was watching an episode the other day, and it was Catwoman Goes to College.
Ooh.
And there's a scene of Catwoman and Batman sharing a soda.
Ooh. I remember that. Mm-hmm. Yes. That was a deep flirtation.
Yes, yes. I have to.
He rejected me.
Well, didn't he always?
He was.
Yes. Well, when I was watching it as a child, I would be one of those children who I loved Catwoman. Now, don't get me wrong here. I did love Catwoman, but I would shout at the TV, "No, Batman, no. Don't. She's evil. She's tricking you."
You were at that age.
I was.
When black is black and white is white,
Right.
good is bad, and all that stuff.
I was.
Oh, yes, that's serious.
And when I got a little older...
Now everything's gray, isn't it?
Right. When I got older, it became, "Oh, Batman, just this once." Go with Catwoman.
Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? Then,
It
then
is.
they'd have to rewrite the whole show.
I know.
See?
I'd sit...
You know, you don't want her to be a good girl.
No, she's such a bad girl.
Entirely.
I always liked that whenever it became time for the big fight scene, that Catwoman was always off to the distance. She would just send in
I
her
had a
goons.
lot of emery boards. I'd pile my nails.
Right.
Yes. Oh, she didn't want to ruffle her feathers. No.
And I do want to say this, and by the way, this is me saying this, and not Julie Newmar, that I wish they would start to lighten up Batman a little bit, if only, in the current films, so that my 6-year-old niece could actually go see one.
You know why? It's
Why
the
is
way
it?
it is.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. It's all the wars we're having. We're in this dark mood, and things don't look right to us. And of course, it's always reflected in the kind of entertainment that there is. It kind of mirrors it, you know. Now, this was done in '66, so it was just prior. It was as the Vietnam War was starting.
Right, that's right.
So there was sort of And I've been told that America, was happiest. And what was the year?
66? 67?
65, around in there.
I would believe that.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? 60s was really something.
Well, I hope we get into a nice time. I hope we get into a better time.
Well,
Yeah. You know, I want to talk about a few more TV roles because you appeared on these programs that are my favorite shows of all time. One of them is Route 66.
Oh, that was written by a great writer.
And I think it was Sterling Silphant who wrote, yes, and you were on 2 episodes.
Yes, they almost made a separate series out of that character who rode the motorcycle, Miss Freedom.
I wish they had.
We were in Nashville, of all things. I haven't seen it for years.
You play.
You watch a lot of television.
I do. Well, I watch a lot of good television. And you played a bohemian biker who falls for Martin Milner as opposed to George Maharis, who I think George Maharis was trying to get something happening. And it turned out to be Martin Milner, the more straight-laced character.
Oh, yes. Did I get him?
You got him.
I did?
Well,
what happened?
You don't really get him, but you spend a lot of time with Martin Milner. And it drives...
I thought I landed in jail.
Well, you do, but then you come back.
Then we went to Arizona, I believe.
Yes.
How far would you say that is?
30 or 40 miles.
Traveling by night, keeping out of the sun by day, person can move 20 miles to 1 gallon of water.
And without any water?
Oh, if you dehydrate 15% of your body weight, you die. It's that simple.
Well, now that we've had the cheerful statistics, let's go.
Which way?
You know, I get the feeling you're enjoying this.
I enjoy everything. And I never made a boy walk home before. Do you have a watch?
Becky, I've been all over the country and met dozens of girls, but never anybody like you.
Preferably one with a large face.
Becky,
Suppose I were to be as honest with you as I could possibly be. Fooling you no more than I fool myself. Still, you wouldn't know me and I wouldn't know you. Because no matter how much we cry for light, we're all sleepwalkers fumbling in the dark. Sometimes we manage to touch for a moment, but then we pass. Tucson's that way.
you don't believe that, Vicky, or you wouldn't be what you are. You'd be depressed and defeated.
Another show, well, there's so many, but obviously the Monkees.
That was so much fun to be with those guys. Oh, Davy Jones, he was adorable. I fell in love with him. He was just so adorable. Mm-hmm.
Now, how would that work? You're so tall.
I like short men.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, they like me.
They did.
Yeah.
All of
them.
They
like me for some reason. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, I have a saying in my book. This is wonderful. You'll like this. Tall girls, I'm talking to tall girls, don't slump. Think of how many short guys out there would love to have your offspring. Stand up for them. Now, is that good advice?
That is wonderful advice.
I mean, you have to have something to hang your ideas on.
What are you doing?
This wall. This wall is the place where I'll paint my next mural.
Davy, are you an artist?
Do fish swim? May I?
Oh, yeah.
I want to ask you about two more television programs, if I could. One is The Twilight Zone. And you played the devil.
Yeah.
Rod Serling wrote that episode.
Rod Serling,
Yes.
the incredible Rod Serling, yes.
And you had to wear little horns.
Little horns right up through my hair, just like when I had ears as Catwoman, then I wore horns. So I guess it was to remind the audience that, disaster is about to befall this poor guy. Yes, well, it's a wonderful story. It's just as easy to play a devil as it is to play anything else. That's an easy part.
That was a
Well,
story.
when you have Rod Serling writing
Of
for you, all
course.
you do is speak the words.
The man you were tempting wanted to be young again, and I believe he looked young, but his body wasn't.
Right.
What a chilling story.
It's chilling. It's chilling. It's a fabulous story. That series is out also.
And so is The Monkees.
Yeah.
All of that is out. Route 66, the entire series is out on DVD.
Yes, it is.
And of course, My Living Doll, can't forget that. And another one that is also timeless is Star Trek.
Oh my, yes, the original. I was
Yes.
in the original Star Trek.
Now,
Everybody was alive then.
that's true. And I hope you have something nice to say about William Shatner.
I love William Shatner. Oh my gosh, what a talent! He's Canadian, you know.
I know.
He was a Shakespearean actor, and Christopher Plummer said he was. If Christopher Plummer says that Bill Shatner was a great actor, that's something. Not Julie Newmar, Christopher Plummer.
I was proud to obey the laws. Kill him first. He laid hands upon me. It is my right to see him die.
I just thought of something that it's such a coincidence that it may not be. On one of the later series of Star Trek, because, they had Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek this and Star Trek that, they had a character on the show Star Trek Voyager in the 1990s who was half human, half robot.
Oh.
Do you know what they called that character, the name of that character?
What they call it?
7 of 9.
You see, I love writers. They have so much loyalty to creative ideas. Because, of course, Rhoda was 709.
709.
Oh.
That just occurred to me. That is really something. I really wonder if they were fans of the show.
Must have been.
They must have been. That's too much of a coincidence.
That's a tribute.
That is. Because who else would be the famous, robot
How was she?
female?
Was she good?
Well, she was very beautiful.
Good.
She would have to be.
Yeah.
And I should point out that people can not only go to their local DVD store and pick up My Living Doll or go to Amazon.com, but you can also get Miss Newmar's own book, which is called The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth.
Yes.
And you can get that at julienewmar.com and Amazon.com.
Thank you.
And who better to explain life on Earth than Catwoman, really?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I figured, by this rich age of mine that I can explain everything to the world and how to do it. And, of course, it's done with a few pratfalls and tongue-in-cheek, of course. But a nice cover, don't you think it's a nice cover?
It's a very nice cover. And, in fact, the photos in the book...
of which there are 70.
There are 70 photos in the book.
The words, you've got the photos.
But there's also what appears to be photos of you in some sort of mime or outfit that are sprinkled throughout the book.
Yes. Those were my favorite pictures ever taken of me. I was always asked to be glamorous and show up and advertise whatever movie or stage show that I was in, and cut a cake or be the queen of the night or whatever. And I finally threw my hands up in the air to this photographer who took these pictures, and I say, I'm tired of glamour. I want to be I want to be silly. So I went next door. This was in New York City on 44th Street. I went next door to a costume shop, and I got a Charlie Chaplin type.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the shoes. No shoes. And it was just, they became my favorite photographs, so I incorporated them actually at the last minute in the book, and I think it turned out really well.
Yes, it's almost like a character guiding you along as you read the book.
Mm-hmm. And it's quite a top-of-the-line book. It's on beautiful paper. It's slim. It's small. It's not hardcover. It's one of those really nice soft covers, and you'll have it for 20, 30 years, and you'll give it to your children, and it's very good for young people. Lots of good things in there.
You can read it in one sitting if you like, but
No.
It's also a book you can pick up
No,
though.
You can't.
Yes.
No, it's like a recipe book. You can't read your recipe book when you sit down in your lap there. No, you want to savor it and taste it and things like here's an example. Never mind changing the world. This is what I say in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Make everything you have better. People will notice.
It's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel as if I should write these on Post-it notes and put it on my refrigerator.
Exactly. Yes, or in your car,
Right.
or when you shave, or how to look good. I tell girls that you get in an elevator and you can improve your posture by standing at the back of the elevator, straightening your spine. Don't pay attention to the rest of the noisy people, and then take a deep breath and you just walk out.
I hope that there are more books coming from you.
Well, there's 3.
3?
Yes. The next one is about roses. There's a rose named after me, and it's called Roses in the Julie Newmar Garden. And if this is something I love doing because it totally involves beauty and telling other people what to do. So I have this gorgeous garden. I probably have the most beautiful garden per square foot this side of the Mississippi. Yes, I brag, but it's true. Mm-hmm. But I love gardens. That's what choreographers do when they retire.
They get into gardening.
They design gardens. Yes. And tell other people what to do. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, and also I think you have a book. There is something on your website about people writing you stories that you're incorporating into a book?
Oh, it's called First Fantasy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, now think about it. You accurately said you were 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First Fantasy, the idea for this book came about when I'd be walking down the street and men would walk up to me and say, "Oh, Miss Newmar, did you know that you were my first turn-on?" And I was a little taken back, and for some I asked them how old they were. They would say, "Oh, about 8, 9, 7." And then it came down to 4. They really admitted it,
4?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. The stories that they tell about the girl or the female or whomever, the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever, that really lit their fire way back then in the beginning, in the early years, they eventually end up marrying that type.
Really?
Of infatuation. Because they would describe to me, the long flowing hair, or the certain look in the eyes, or a kind of behavior. And lo and behold, people know about their lives at a very young age.
Well, that's fascinating. And you're collecting these stories.
And I'd love people to write to me and tell me their personal story about who just gave them the giddiness, and send it to me at julienewmar.com.
Which is where you can get the other book we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yes, or julienewmarwrites.com. I have 2 websites, but either one. Just send it to me. Write me something good. Write me something true, and I'll make you famous in my next book.
All right, listeners, you have your marching orders. The Conscious Catwoman explains life on Earth.
Yes.
So all of your big mysteries in life, people always wonder, what's it all about?
It's all solved.
Why are we here? It's all been solved.
Yes, that's right. I have a good one. This is about manners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good manners are wisdom practiced backwards. Bad manners are the throne of selfishness claiming to be individuality.
Wow. These will reverberate in my mind after this conversation is long over.
Well, it makes sense. I like
It
things
does.
that are good human logic.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on
What a pleasure.
and chatting with us. And again, the book, The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth, and if you haven't seen the TV series, My Living Doll, do yourself a favor and see this wonderful series that for so long was considered lost, and viewers such as myself held on to illegal, I'll admit it to you, Julie, illegal copies of the 3 episodes that people had in terrible condition.
Yes, VHS.
VHS tapes, and now we can watch it in gorgeous black and white, pristine, and loaded with special features and interviews with you and Howard Leeds, and I can only hope that Volume 2 comes sooner than later.
Oh, Mr. Wills, you are the best interviewer I have ever talked to.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to make that into a T-shirt.
Well, you knew everything that was important. That was important to me anyway, and I'm really grateful. I mean, it doesn't always happen.
Well, thank you so much for being so wonderful and so giving with your time.
And I like it on TV, too.
Well, thank you. And you have a wonderful day, and we will continue to catch up with you on julienewmar.com and julienewmarwrites.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.